There are signs everywhere that Seattle is haunted by ghosts.
Yeah, they're out there.
Robin Ford has seen the signs firsthand.
There's just pockets where time forgets it, you know?
And he knows where these silent ghosts lurk, waiting to be hunted down.
My best guess. In the quieter areas, that's where you find them.
The ghosts that Robin Ford knows are a sign. Ghost signs, reflections from the past that refuse to move on. Here at the Seattle Department of Transportation, his job is to bring new signs to life.
Manufacturing, primarily. We have a couple different methods to manufacture traffic signs. We maintain an inventory of signs for our sign installers to daily go out and do their activities. We also provide inventories of custom signs for larger projects, upscale projects in the downtown corridor and throughout the city.
And it's also the place where a select few signs come to, well, if not die exactly, to live on in a museum of sorts. And Robin Ford is our spirit guide as we hunt the streets of Seattle for ghost signs. There's no formal definition for a ghost sign. Generally, these are signs that date back into history and that may no longer be needed, or that are somehow out of date but yet still remain on display out on the streets.
I think it's sensory overload. There's a lot of unique signs out there.
If you spend much time behind the wheel in Seattle traffic, you can't help but start to notice these messages from the past as you glance around waiting for the cars ahead of you to move. And some of these ghost signs have interesting stories to tell. At the bottom of Columbia Street, an original US Highway 99 shield logo stands out from all the other more modern 99 signs, the ones with a George Washington silhouette.
How about access? Well, US Highway 99, proceeding southwest from Aurora Avenue, ducks into the well-ventilated Battery Street Tunnel and emerges on the Alaskan Way Viaduct.
The Columbia on-ramp to the viaduct and the sign weren't built until 1966. That's more than 10 years after the viaduct first opened to traffic, with no on-ramps and no off-ramps. A few blocks west at the 1966 Coleman Dock Ferry Terminal, a ghost sign directs cars exiting the Bremerton and Bainbridge boats to temp or temporary I-90. Tourists be warned, temporary I-90 went away 25 years ago. And it was more than 50 years ago when the federal government launched a program to put survival supplies in the basements of urban buildings. Distinctive fallout shelter signs, somehow simultaneously creepy and reassuring, were once ubiquitous on downtown streets. This one on Western Avenue might be the only one left in Seattle.
Farther east, the old ice arena is also due for modernization, and the parking lot on the corner of 5th and Mercer becomes part of the Gateway 21 amusement strip.
Of course, the early 1960s weren't only about nuclear destruction. In addition to building the world's fairgrounds at Seattle Center, civic leaders launched a program to mark scenic drives around the city. A map was published, and hundreds of Trident and Trees signs directed local and out-of-town drivers along 4 different routes. 5+ decades later, one of the few remaining scenic drive signs is easy to miss. It's on the viaduct in the northbound lanes just south of the Battery Street Tunnel.
We have 188,000 signs, and give or take a couple thousand, because things happen out in the field. You know, people don't record the signs when they're installed, they get stolen, that type of thing.
Not long ago, there was another scenic drive sign just south of the Fauntleroy Ferry Terminal. All that's left there now is the post and the mounting hardware. Let's hope this missing ghost found a good home. From a pedestrian underpass beneath the Magnolia Bridge, sailors and soldiers disembarking from transport ships at Pier 91 back in the 1950s and 60s were once directed to buses for a ride to Fort Lawton or downtown. The soldiers and sailors were discharged decades ago, but the sign remains on active duty. It takes a lot of effort to see all these ghosts, and as we learned at Fauntleroy, there's no guarantee they'll still be there when you make the trip. What does Robin Ford think about some way to formally preserve these ghost signs? Maybe a sign landmark program?
I think it would be great, because right now that sign, somebody could steal it, but a lot of times the installers, unless directed in a certain way, that sign will go into recycling.
Until that happens, when you hear the ghost signs calling, you'd better just get in the car.
Watch CityStream Thursday nights at 7 on the Seattle channel, or get video on demand and podcasts anytime at seattlechannel.org.